everyone, it's the History Nerd, back for some more German adventurism. Woo! Let's get this show on the road. Mr. Awesome Boy. Exactly. What we're learning about the Celts today really does discount pretty much every single Roman source about them. So, yes, it is true that history is written by the victors. I will never argue that point. However, when it comes to something like Roman perceptions about Republic versus Empire, I think we can trust the Roman sources at least a little bit on these. Mainly because... Boom. And then, yeah, let's just make sure we can hit them. Good. What? They should have all died. Whatevs. We'll get them all. Come on, that one. There we go. Mainly because it's convenient for my argument. But there's also archaeological evidence that shows, you know, living conditions in Rome improving throughout the imperial era. So... yeah, I mean, you know, the argument can be made, well, that's just technological progress. Sure, absolutely, 100% it is. But what conditions were allowing for these technological progressions to be made? And I really do think the imperial system enabled Rome to advance much better than the Republican system allowed for. The Republican system in Rome was incredibly corrupt. And, you know, I'm kind of the mind that corruption is just going to happen in a, oh, what's my train of thought? Corruption's just going to happen in a Republican system by the very nature of it. That seems like a really weak argument now that I think about it. But I can't put it down. I can't put it into words better. Wow, I'm really having problems with the English language today. Sorry, guys. It's a good thing I'm not the English nerd. Yeah, I think. Anyway, yeah, well, and, you know, the evidence is there that during the Republican time, or during the Imperial time, things were getting better, at least in Rome, and for the Romans themselves. So I would still argue that from the perspective of your average Roman, they were going to be much more on board with the imperial system, and, you know, there wouldn't have been a desire to return to the times of corruption and scandal and intrigue, although really all of those existed in the imperial time as well, just not to the same extent. Yay, defeating my own argument as I think about it. Anyway, man, Spain's handing our ass to us. Retreat! Yeah, so I'm gonna leave that topic before I fully defeat myself. Moving on. Comrade Dan! It was a beautifully shot movie, absolutely. One of the best, seriously one of the best, if not the best Bond film ever made, period, hands down, gone on record. I say that. So listen to me, obviously I'm an expert in all things history and Bond films. Do I think the Russian Revolution was the fault of the Tsars? Do you mean Nicholas II himself, or the political system that allowed Tsarist Russia, or the Tsars in Russia, to be totally dominant? Because I certainly do think that the political system in Russia played a large part in what was going on. Are you kidding me, China? Get out the... okay, good. Whew! I mean, we're talking about a country that didn't get rid of serfdom until 1861. Like, that's crazy, right? Like, every other European country had done away with that. And even when they did get away from the serf system, they don't really get away from it. They just basically called it something else. And, well, peasants certainly could own their own land. It was damn expensive, and it was really, really difficult for them to get out of that. So much so that even in the early 20th century, you still had quite a few peasants. They have conquistadors already? Damn. Okay. We might just have to see. Oh. I gotta ride this out for 5 more turns. We're not gonna be able to do it. Wow. Yeah, you might have been right there, Comrade Dan, about needing to focus on things like the economy. Whew. Okay. We can salvage this. We can salvage this. We really can we? Conquistadors. What the hell? At least my people are happy. That's a rarity. I'm happy with that. That's a small victory there. So yeah, I wouldn't go off and say, you know, it was absolutely the fault of Nicholas II, and the communist revolution was directly because of what he was doing. But certainly the political system in Russia meant that you know, this was just what was going, like, it was inevitable. The kind of revolution, whether it was going to be a communist revolution or, you know, a Republican revolution, some sort of democratic revolution, what have you, a revolution was bound to happen in Russia because it needed it. Like, they really, really were so far behind that something was going to happen, and something had to happen. Not to mention, if you pile on the... why can't I remember? It's rare that I forget World War I when I'm thinking about history, so that was just a shock to me. If you factor in the conditions during World War I, of everybody, right? Like, it was a nasty war. You know, you can see that... well, I mean, you can't really see. These conditions meant that, you know, on top of coming back to an outdated and backward country, you know, you've got these people who have just fought and died in a terrible war, in a war on a scale that had never been seen before. You know, they come back, and there's really nothing. You know? Russia was just, it was a bankrupt country when it came to how can we help our people. And so, you know, the communist ideals, especially in the early 20th century, were the new thing, right? Like, kind of like today, with... Now, don't get mad at me, libertarians. Kind of like libertarianism as the new political ideology that's coming out. And, you know, communism was a brave new thing that nobody had tried yet, and it was going to be great, and it was going to solve all the world's problems, and everyone would be able to live happy and together and work towards common good. There'd be no suffering. All these ideas, right? Which, I mean, anytime a political system claims that it's going to be like that, it's BS. Because no political system can be, because unfortunately every political system involves humans. So, you know, I think why you see communism taking hold in Russia is because they had been a medieval country for so long that literally anything was going to be better, and why not try something new? Why not try something radical? Why not try something that nobody had tried before? Because, you know, what are you going to lose? Whatever you pick, it's going to be better than what you've got. So it's not totally the Tsar. Well, it's not totally Nicholas II. But, you know, it's, excuse me. I hope the mic didn't pick that up. That would be quite disgusting to hear. It's just, it kind of makes sense that what they did, they went for the communist solution. That makes sense to me because of how bad things were in Russia. I mean, Germany too. Let's not forget, Germany was very close to going communist themselves at the end of World War I. Now, I'm not talking about, you know, the street fighting between brown shirts and communists here. I'm talking like, you know, 1919. It was so close, so close. And really what, quote-unquote, saved Germany from communism was the Freikorps. And these were units of ex-soldiers back from World War I who had no jobs. There was no prospect of any sort of work for them. And, you know, but the difference here is that with the disenfranchised people coming back to Russia, they weren't loyal to the Tsar. They had no reason to be. With the Freikorps, they were still loyal to Germany. And, because, I mean, the feeling was, Germany had such an amazing rise at the end of the 19th century that they couldn't, like, in the mindset of the German people, there was no way that they could have lost the war. Germany couldn't have lost. Something had to make Germany lose. So when these soldiers come back, they're still loyal to Germany, and they're still loyal to the idea of a German nation, and they still want to fight for Germany because that's what they do. I mean, that's the basis of the Prussian model. Ooh. We're not going to give you Hamburg, but let's see if we can maybe entice you with some horses. And how about 50 gold? Would that work? Okay. 55, propose. Okay. 150, propose. 200.
No ante Dios.
I am doing better, I thought. So what have I got? 254? All my gold. And why not? All my horses.
No ante Dios.
Okay. Well, I'm not about to give up Hamburg. So we're just going to have to fight Spain for it. Peace will come later. I think. So, yeah. It wasn't totally Tsar Nicholas II's fault. Yeah, whatever, China. Pretty sure you're gonna come and invade with all the military units you got marching around Munich there. Not to mention, Munich is the same religion, so it would make sense for you to come and free your religious people. Let me tell you, this game, not going too well. We'll recover. I have firm faith in our ability to recover. And Monty Productions Inc. well, la-di-da. You know what, China? You just wait until the industrial era. And we'll come and beat you up. So there's no question in my mind that without the Cold War, the standards of living and just quality of life in the Soviet Union would have been better. Absolutely. But I'm not sure that a command economy could ever really truly work. In the sense of, you know, actually being able to, everybody hates me. Great. In the sense that I really don't think a communist government or a communist state can ever last for too long. That being said, none of us know for sure. I mean, if you take a look at a nation like Cuba, right, you can say, well, obviously communism works, look at Cuba. Cuba's so tiny, it doesn't matter what economic or political system it follows. It's going to be dependent on the rest of the world. You're never going to see an empire, a world powerful empire based out of Cuba. And because of this, or even North Korea, like, those places, nah, they're never going to... Oh, absolutely, I will. Thank you very much. Yeah, well, I already know you're going to betray me, so you'll just have to pay for that in time. Yeah, you know, you take a look at, and for the record, China's not a communist country. If you take a look at their economy, they're certainly not communist. They may have a totalitarian political system, but they are by no means a communist country. So, right there, yeah, I wouldn't say a successful communist state is China. China's a successful state, there's no question about it. China's not communist. There we go. Move the bowman up. And we should probably start moving siege units out as well. We've got a general. Another long set of notes. Thank you guys again. Really, really good questions again. This is amazing. I'm like giddy with excitement. This is so much fun. Most people, when I get started on these little rants, most people, like if I'm ranting at work, people will just be like, oh god, shut up. I don't care. I don't care if you think communism would work or not. Leave me alone. Stop it. So this is amazing fun for me. So I mean, that's the thing. Like, I firmly believe that command economies wouldn't work because they're not really able to effectively provide what their people want. And because really people are crazy creatures who change what they want on a whim. You know, one day they want whatever, they want like a new car. Then the next day they don't want a car, they want a boat. Because why not? That's you know, that's better than a car because it can go on water. And then they realize, well, that's pretty useless if I live inland and there's no sources of water. So sitting down and having people say, okay, this year we're going to produce X amount of this because that's what the people are going to want, that's crazy talk. You're never going to understand. You're never going to know that. So boom. How dare I? What do you mean? Oh, wow. I didn't realize that Citadel's expanded Political space. That's pretty cool. I had no idea that would happen. I like that. That's pretty cool. So can we do this then? Oh yeah! Come at me, bro! I got my citadel up! That makes me really happy. Man, I can't believe it's been that long since I've built a citadel. I don't think I've ever built one for any of the series. That's crazy. We need some more spearmen. No, yeah, grunts. That'll be good to have. But, I mean, whether it would or not, in my head it wouldn't, but that doesn't mean it wouldn't. You know, there's... Stole some of my land? Where did... Yeah. If it's up here, then I don't really matter. I don't really care. It doesn't matter. Great. Well, we don't have our own religion, but, you know, that's fine. We don't need it. All we need is a strong army. Can I? A navy's probably a good idea, too. Thanks for leaving your general right there. Really helpful. Thanks, China. You rock. How do I want to set these guys up? Put them there. Alright. And then we have to send them that way. Slowly but surely, we're making our way towards Barcelona. That's all that counts. Yeah, we'll never know. Unless, somehow, a nation can try it. That's the only way we'll know for sure. My gut tells me it won't work. But, you know what? I've been wrong before, I'll be wrong again. Without having... I mean, if the Cold War hadn't have happened, we could answer this question. Because we would have had an example in the Soviet Union. Since the Cold War was going on, we have no idea how much or how little having to fight off the... I would imagine they'd call us the Blue Menace? Having to fight off the Blue Menace. That's... boom. Official. That's what they called us. We have no idea how much that affected Soviet society and what they were doing. We can't know. So, yeah, you know, who knows? Maybe one day we'll find out. Wouldn't surprise me. You know, who knows how long that'll be though, right? Like political ideas come and go, and they make comebacks, they recede, and there's just never a way to tell for sure what people are going to do next. So maybe we'll find out. But my gut tells me that eventually, just purely because of the structure of the economics of a communist system, it's not going to work. But I mean, you know, communist systems are great for fighting wars. You know, you can divert resources much easier. And yep. Thank you. Thank you. Hey guys, strap in. This might be the shortest Civ series ever. But we'll see. You know, or maybe we won't. Who knows? That's the exciting thing. Nobody ever knows what we're gonna do next. So, yeah. Now, absolutely wonderful question on Easter Island. Really the only experience I've got with this location is a Jared Diamond book called Collapse. Really, really good book. If you haven't read it, go out, get it for Christmas, give it a read. It's Or I guess Christmas or your winter holiday equivalent. Shouldn't be exclusatory? That doesn't even sound like a word. Really, really good read of quite a lot of different collapses throughout history. And hold on, just trying to get my strategic brain going. If you've watched my XCOM series, you know my strategic brain isn't all that great. Or maybe it's my tactical brain that isn't all that great. Regardless, one of my, fighting war brains isn't all that great. Fighting war brains. I certainly don't think it was just one of those things. I think it was a combination of both. Now, with Easter Island, you see a great example of humanity's ability to ignore environmental constraints and continually try and spread themselves and grow beyond what the environment can sustain, right? Like, humans are really, really good at being really, really stupid when it comes to things like, we're running low on things that we need to survive within the environment. The general human response is, screw it. I still need to live. And if this is, if chopping down these trees is how I know how to live, I'm going to keep chopping down these trees. And eventually, everything's going to be fine. So, I think with Easter Island, what you see is a society that continues to grow. And then because of the constraints of the environment they're in, you see them hit this wall where they really can't grow any further. But that doesn't stop them. They just keep doing it. They just keep doing what they're doing. And damn the consequences, basically. And then, when you see the society really drop off, and, yeah, you might want to move. Not a safe place for you to be at right now. It gets its final, basically when the Europeans showed up, they were done anyway, right? Their civilization was already in decline. Much like Germany in this game. But, the Europeans showing up was really just like kicking somebody in the balls after they've been knocked out. It's just like, we're really going to teach you a lesson. Easter Island was done. Oh, balls. Like, take everything. Fine, my people are going to get mad. Great. Wonderful. But at least that's one less enemy. I don't know what I'm going to do about China. China's scary. China's always scary. I think I might be able to take Persia here. Oh. Knights. Man. Comrade Dan, you were right. We really need to focus on things like the economy. But it's a bit late now. What can you do? Alright. How did that turn out? Not that badly, actually. So yeah, ultimately, contact, disease, what have you, finished off the island. No question. That was the final nail in the coffin for Easter Island. But, they'd driven themselves to ruin. And then, where did all my I've lost both my catapults? That's scary. I need more of those. should be okay. Oh, they're gonna take him. Probably. Who knows? Wow! I am behind in tech. If a trebuchet is doing that to my cities, whoo! Forget it. That is not good. Although thankfully we survived for a little bit longer. Yeah, I get it. Okay, you don't think you can trust me. That's fine. I can't trust any of you. Really. Can't trust any of you. Get you up there. Can you? Nope. So what we'll want to do is that, and then we can get at least some hits on those knights. As usual, you know, I mean, we can't... Really, what I think you were going with your question was... Okay, sure, we'll go over there. There you go, we got you covered. You know, or is the idea that we, or that the Easter Island people did it to themselves, kind of a way to relieve some of the guilt or some of the blame for what happened to them from a Western perspective? Because the West has this massive, massive complex with, you know, what we've done in the past is bad, and we need to atone for that. And I'm not saying we don't, but if you go back far enough in history, everybody has done something bad to somebody else. That's history. That's human history in a nutshell. Humans are jerks. And doesn't matter where or when, one group who's a bit more powerful is going to be jerks to another group who's less powerful. So, you know, maybe that's kind of the idea, where we can be like, okay, well, guys, Easter Island wasn't us. It wasn't us. They did it to themselves. It was a combination of both things. It was basic human nature of wanting to dominate a region to make it, you know, the most accommodating to humans. And, hold on, let's get you into the borders too, so we can effectively do that. And we might as well move him here, just so we can keep one worker. Who knows, we might be able to pull off something. Some sort of magic. Go back. I mean, they're highly, highly outdated. But we can still do some serious damage to those knights. Get them, spearmen! But it's interesting, and if you know, if you guys don't know much, and I'm really kind of tempted to sit down and learn more about Easter Island, because I don't know enough about it. And it's a really interesting example in humanity and what we do. It's a great example of how stupid we are at ignoring environmental warnings and just continuing on as if everything's fine. FYI, that being... Well, no, I'm not going to get into it. Not going to get into it! Let your imaginations run wild with what I was going to say. Not going to get into it. And, Snaozi6? Sorry if I mispronounced your name. In what way? I'm not going to leave it there. That would be mean, wouldn't it? After I've gone through all of these other questions, to just say, in what way do you mean? I'm done. A couple of things I find really, really interesting, especially from a Roman perspective, is one, culturally, the Romans kind of despise the Greeks. They really thought poorly of them. And, you know, that right there is, it's interesting enough because the Romans adopted, I mean, basically the Romans stole their Roman religion from the Greeks. No question about it. That's what they did. Oh yeah, the Lance Nectar, like, cheap! So, in that case... What? I guess they're just cheap to upgrade to. In that case, I find it really interesting, because they would be like, Greeks. You know, stupid Greeks. They're effeminate, and they're worthless, and we Romans are so much better. But, you know, we're going to take your religion. Really, I think it had more to do with Rome wanting to fit in to the especially the Aegean and the Eastern Mediterranean world, because that's where the power was. And Rome was way out on the periphery, doing its own thing, you know, desperately wanting to be a part of that. And they really weren't. So what do? They adopt the religion, and they're like, no, look at us, we're Hellenistic. We got all the same gods, and we got columns, and all these Mediterranean things. Come on, we're just like you, but not in the ways that we don't like. And so that in itself just fascinates me. And then how Rome really utilized this religion in an intelligent way when it came to conquering other people. One of the massive advantages to polytheism is you've got many gods, right? So you've got a god for this, and you got a god for that, and it's all spread out. When you conquer a group, right, and then they come along and they're like, oh, well, you know, we have a god, the god of whatever. The Romans were really, really great at being like, oh, so you mean, like, if you went in and they were like, oh, we've got our god of farming, right? And the god of farming is this, you know, that's its name, and all, and yada yada yada, blah blah blah. Then the Romans would be like, oh, you mean, and I'm gonna mispronounce the name probably because I haven't studied it in over a decade, but Ceres, you know, she's the same god, just a different name. Or, you know, like, oh, we've got our god of partying and celebration. Oh, you mean Bacchus? Like, I hope Bacchus isn't the Greek one. I get the names confused sometimes. You know, like, don't worry about it. It's the same guy, basically. And they would adopt things and aspects of these gods and incorporate them into their religion. So that their conquered people could be like, okay, well, it's a different name, but it's basically the same thing, so that's not bad. The only time they really ran into problems with this was in Palestine with the Jewish people. And, you know, they were like, okay, so we get it. You got one god instead of many gods. That's okay. How about two? All we're asking is for you guys to just be like, okay, Jupiter's above Yahweh. You can still worship Yahweh. You can still do whatever it is you need to do with your god, but just Jupiter's above him. And, you know, for obvious religious reasons, the Jewish people would not agree to this. I mean, it kind of flies in the face of every single aspect of a monotheistic religion. So it's not surprising that it didn't work. But, you know, when in contact with any other polytheistic... that's the one I wanted. When in contact with any other polytheistic group, it worked great. It worked amazingly well for the Romans. Their ability to use... Whoa! What? Musketmen? Already? That had to have been an upgrade, or a goody hut, or something. That's insane! I can't be that far behind. No! Not what I wanted! Not what I wanted at all! Wanted you to attack them. Oh, well, we can kind of surround them. Well, we'll keep one of the farmers safe, I guess. Get in your own land. Heal up. Yeah, okay, fine. Shock. Because we're standing in the open. And yeah, there we go. Sleep. So yeah, it's interesting. Their religions, and certainly the way Rome. Honestly, the way Rome used their religion is genius. Absolutely genius. And honestly, I don't think they would have had as successful an empire if they weren't going along and actively encouraging the spread, but adapting it as well, so that their conquered peoples wouldn't feel out of place with... oh, come on. They wouldn't feel out of place with the religions that were, I guess, in a way being forced upon them. But again, I mean, they were so... The Romans were so clever in so many little ways that it's just, it's fascinating the way they did things. I think, anyway. They were... I mean, honestly, they were obviously, they were an incredible empire. And, you know, we don't really think of all the little tricks of the trade that they were using, but their religion was certainly one of them, and it was a very effective one, too. I mean, even moving into Christianity, think about it. Like, an awful lot of people in today's world are still following the state religion of the Roman Empire. I don't even mean the Eastern Roman Empire, the Roman Empire. That's crazy. That's effective social control right there. Like, they knew what they were doing. Anyway, before I get myself into too much trouble with religious viewers, I'm going to leave it there, because I've done that before. And it's interesting, but not fun. In fact, I think I'm going to leave the video here. So, we've lost Munich. We've only got 3 cities left. We're desperately behind. And unless we can pull something out here, what I'm hoping is, and actually, once I'm done building the lance deck there, I'm going to start getting some more siege weapons down. Because if we can make a dent into Persia, if we can take Susa and Pasargadae? Pasargadae. Horribly mispronounced, I'm sure. If we can at least take those, that gives us a tighter, more defensible empire. And then hopefully pick off the rest of Persia. At the very least, the rest of Persia here. Right? Like, I don't know. We can leave everything in Persepolis and East. That's fine. But if we can pick these guys off, that'll mean a much better German empire. And then China are just jerks. I'd like to go and take back Munich and then push. We'll see. I'm kind of getting scared of China because they're big and they've already got a citadel, and that's concerning. But I think we can still effectively make some gains against Persia. We'll find out next time. Who knows? Maybe it'll be the last episode next time. Regardless, thumbs up if you've enjoyed this. Leave your comments, questions, concerns, jokes, thoughts, musings, what have you below. Thank you guys again very, very much for these questions for this series. This has been amazing fun. Keep them coming. For those of you in school, it's getting close to final times, I think. Best of luck with exams and what have you that you're in. It may sound crazy, but I'm jealous. It's been a while, and I miss it. So, while you're there, if you're there, enjoy. Don't fret too much. And thank you all very much for watching. We'll see you next time.